Everyone's got to be a bit blown away with how Fierce showed up over on Coastline. It's now time to see if they're able to put up similar numbers or better here on Cafe.
It is, and this is, I think, going to be a more difficult task for Fierce here. We've seen how prevalent NaVi can be on Cafe. If you remember when it first got brought in after the rework into Pro League, they won a good number of fixtures in the Pro League at the beginning of the season there on the new Cafe.
NaVi were one of the first teams to really get Cafe down, I think, and that's what did them, saw them so much success early on. I'm really interested about that first operator ban coming out from NaVi. It cannot go unmentioned. This is the only map that NaVi lost within the Premiership. They, of course, lost it to M&M. A key part of them losing that map was knock. Now, it was a different Nathan. We've got to make that clear. However, the knock was the same. Is this sort of NaVi saying, look, we don't want to even have that into our minds. As a mindset thing, we don't even want to be looking toward that knock. I don't want anything to do with it.
Well, it's just such a difficult operator potentially to deal with. Just that ability to completely remove yourself from cams. As we say, we're moving back now more towards an information and objective-focused meta. And so, whilst you're trying to get all that information, maybe you've got a couple of Mozzie drones out there, you've got your static cams, you've maybe got Valkyrie cams, you're not going to have Maestro because he's off the board, but you might have some Echo drones out there. All of which can be completely circumvented by Nock's ability. So if you use your head when using knocking, you'll use that ability wisely in the right positions at the right times for the right movement, you can keep yourself completely off the grid. And we've seen when that's combined with aggression and you're moving yourself into sight quickly, you get that situation. How is he in sight already? How do we not know he's in sight at this point? And you've already lost 2 men, and you know what? It's too late.
Why is he there?
Why is he there?
Why is he there? The most common asked question. Well, moving into round number 1, we're going to be looking toward a top floor defense. Interesting that NaVi chose to ban out the Maestro. Obviously, Kendrew saw a lot of success with the Maestro, instead opting to bring that Echo, obviously feeling that Echo is going to be a little bit more advantageous for them. There's, of course, a lot of interesting Echo placements that you can get away with here on Cafe. Personal favourite, in any sort of window ledge. If you get him to the top of that window ledge, it can provide that little bit of outside information, which can be oh so crucial if you do want to start getting aggressive and try and challenge people out there on repels.
Nasty angles from X there. Looking towards round number 1 then, as you say, we're going to be defending top floor, and I think the fact that NaVi have got the defence here is really going to play into their favour. I think Fierce have to come out and win at least 2 of these attacking rounds to give themselves any sort of chance coming into the second half. What we're going to see early on, for anybody who maybe hasn't seen Cafe, isn't too familiar with competitive play, we're going to generally see a push towards the room at the bottom left of your screen there. Piano saves coming in with an early Nitro kill onto Fierce. Continuing what I was saying, the attackers are generally going to push towards the room with the Piano in it, and they're going to try and take control of that and breach onto site. As it is, Prox doing some work on the windows there and getting the kill onto Saves and Pie, so that puts Fierce at a man advantage now. Prox moving his way up white stairs, which is something unusual, and this is what Fierce are going to have to do. The standard push that I'm talking about into Piano may not have been successful because NaVi will have been expecting it, because it is so common. As it is, Prox has mixed that up by getting himself onto white stairs and pushing up from an unexpected angle. As it is now, the call-outs have gone out and they know where he is, so maybe time to rotate, try something a bit different. He tries to move in conjunction with the Lion scan there just to aid his push, but it will be unsuccessful as Kendrew doesn't mind getting picked up, will move out and take the shots onto Prox, predicting that his movement would come in time with that Lion scan, I think.
Kendrew there opting for the ACOG instead of the, opting for the holographic instead of the ACOG. A very interesting choice there, and I can't believe that Yokai drone has survived on white stairs, as that was where Prox was playing for quite some time as the IQ. But Citizen going to find one back onto Alfie, and well, from Fierce's perspective, it has all seemed to stop. Pistol comes out there from Citizen. What is going on? He's going to clean Keaton's head off there, as he's able to pick that pistol kill up for free, and while Kendrew closing out the round. So something that started looking very good for Fierce just didn't really go anywhere.
Something very dangerous just happened for Fierce there, and that was that Citizen picked up a ridiculous headshot on the pistol onto Skylight. How often did you successfully challenge that angle in the reverse from insight onto the Skylight? It's a rarity anyway, let alone with a pistol headshot. And if Citizen's starting to get that sort of confidence and just starting to open his stride up a little bit and just strut round a little bit, then things are going to be very, very tough for Fierce.
That's a real shame for Fierce, because the way that they started that round, okay, Save's got an early kill, that can be forgiven. With Prox then picking up 2 quick kills on the back of it, gaining such crucial control of White Stairs, because once you've got that, nobody can stand or play in and around the dark corner inside of Piano, which is a bit of a headache if you're going to look to try and take Piano. That should have allowed the rest of his team to look to get the wall open at the top of Red and then take that Piano control. And all of a sudden, Prox isn't really in much of a fight. He doesn't need to challenge onto Bar and Cocktail area because it is a bit of a difficult spot to challenge onto. That sort of teamwork and that sort of synergy and working together should be second nature to a team like Fierce, because we've seen them work very well as a team in the past. Had they then taken that control and looked to work on through, could have gone a lot different for them. Instead, challenging onto the Skylight, Prox getting a little bit too aggressive. The Lion Scan doesn't make you invincible.
I think you're right there. I think the key to that is the sort of overreach by Prox. His confidence is up. He's bouncing. He's got 2 kills. He's done very well for his team. But like you say, if he just holds White Stairs there and prevents that corner being used to keep his team out of Piano, and he just has some patience and allows 2 or 3 men to get established in Piano and start opening walls up, then things change for him. Because the players that are in Piano with the wall opened up can hold new angles through to Bar and Cocktail to prevent the exact sort of movement that has seen Prox get killed. So really, his push just came too soon, if anything.
I always enjoy watching Nello setting up the site and where those shotgun holes are going to be going. Citizen are going to be opening the account again for NaVi as he is able to take out Keenan. That's going to be the only option for a hard breacher as well on the side of Fierce, so it is going to limit their options in terms of pushing. They're now going to be restricted to doorways or if there are any soft walls available. Yokai drone there getting pinged out, but it isn't going to be able to be cleared, so it's still going to be in play and gathering some very crucial information. Alfie has got himself into prep. He knows that there's people in and around the area. He's able to provide some pings for his team, but look at all this utility. Look at all the pressure that he's seeing. Toxic Babe canisters are going to do a good portion of damage, as the Yokai drone as well just caused him to drop his shield, as he did receive some shots in return as well. So Alfie, bit of a war of attrition there. Sure, he's baiting out a lot of that utility from NaVi, but they're more than happy to throw it at the Monty because they know that they're going to be able to win the gunfights once that Monty has been dealt with.
Very difficult position for a Monty to really efficiently operate that, because you've got the window on the right-hand side of him, which makes it tricky, because every time he turns towards the door or the window, he's essentially exposing a flank somewhere. Citizen moving in with his second on the round, and like I say, really starting to bounce along now, and that could be a dangerous thing for Fierce. They need to shut that down. Saves with a headshot onto Nathan, but Prox, meanwhile, doing good work on the stairs, gets down and gets himself 1 onto Citizen, but not before Saves and Nello get the final 2 and finish things off for NaVi here. 2-0, and Fierce definitely need to be picking up a round very, very soon.
And this is the danger when NaVi start on the defence on Cafe. Very familiar with the map, obviously, very capable at defending onto it. The defender advantage playing into that ever so slightly as well. And you could see they just weren't phased one little bit. Citizen had the roam game on lock. He knew exactly where people were pushing from. And because of the way that Fierce were trying to use the Monty to try and push through and gain that ground in prep, there was NaVi knew exactly where every single attacker was on the side of Fierce, and it was just about picking them apart slowly but surely. Sure, Prox saw a little bit of success coming down the red stairs, but it was too little too late. It effectively left his team in a 5 versus 4 for the majority of the round, and then came in with an exit kill at the end.
And this is, that's not necessarily down to Prox there. I think NaVi are playing very well at making themselves unpredictable about the locations around the map. They are playing people out on the roam. They are, putting operators out into the map. So really, what Prox was doing, you've no choice but to do. You have to get your drones. You've got to get your players in from top 4 down, clear, and make sure you've got everybody cleared out. We know that there was somebody from the NaVi side operating in the dining table area because they had a vertical view down onto the Monty, and we saw that pinged a number of times. So that information's getting fed back in, and that forces Prox to stay away from his position at the bottom of red stairs. He can't push it as quickly as they might like to, and that really worked out for NaVi.
Nathan opting to bring the Blackbeard. Fierce trying to throw everything and the kitchen sink at picking up around here. They've tried the Lion a couple of times. They've tried the Monty. Now going to be switching things up once again and bringing the Blackbeard. I'm not sure how much value that's actually going to see. Obviously, Blackbeard's a bit of a pain to play against in most circumstances. But realistically, going from that top floor clear and having established himself on the roof so early, sure, he's going to be able to peek onto the skylight with a little bit more safety. But we're going to be looking really to play that Blackbeard on a window, get him on an upside down rappel somewhere and try and hold that flank or hold that rotation, maybe looking on toward the top of White stairs and the corner inside of Piano. Instead, it's going to be Penguin taking up that mantle on the east stairs, as it is going to be Keenan dropping in, getting himself on the top of red. Drone work going on ahead of him, but I'm sure he's going to be aware that there are some people playing. He's not been cleared out. Citizen there, sit down, hit him with the good night. That's a heck of a shot coming out there from Keenan. That's going to fire him up ever so slightly. Shots again getting exchanged onto Kendrew, as Kendrew is on the new cocktail area. And well, top floor controls all but being gained here from Fierce. Now they've just got to try and push through and work together as a team to maintain this control. Start looking at opening up the floor, but Nello is going to be there on White stairs, just able to cut off the push. Nello making a really nice rotation there just to assist his team in holding that top floor for a little bit longer, and maybe hoping that Kendrew's able to get out of there with his life, as he is now seeing some pressure on the rappel as well, as it's going to be Penguin that is able to find that kill over onto Pi. So quickly looking good for Fierce as they enter a 5 versus 3.
Top floor now, all but cleared out with just Kendrew on the echo up there, but I say just Kendrew as he gets himself a kill onto Keenan, but Prox will get himself a nice double there. Kendrew and Nello going off the board, saves now in a 1 versus 4 with it all to do, and as we suggested, Fierce had to come out in this round. They had to come out swinging, they had to get themselves around, and it's certainly looking like that will be the case, as saves will get droned out and need to just relocate, move himself back towards site. He's taking drones out one after another here, but things are not going to be easy. There's plenty of time left on the round here. It is not something that Fierce need to rush. Now they can just take their time, get themselves into a position. Now they're stacking 3 up on one door. We've already suffered to this once and it could be dangerous, but saves will fail to win the first gunfight. Alfie finishes things off for Fierce there, and that will now be 2-1 in favour of NaVi. Can we just for 1 minute X go back to that headshot from Keenan? Thank you for the replay production, because this is beautiful. He absolutely deletes Citizen there off the map.
It's a heck of a shot, and he redeemed himself as well, because I was about to say he'd not cleared out the corner. You know, he didn't really know that anybody was playing there. He was obviously not working off any information, otherwise his sights would have been pre-aimed onto that corner and onto that little pixel spot. But just the flick and the instant reaction there coming out from Keenan is something you genuinely do love to see. And well, it was the opening that Fierce needed that enabled them to be able to go out there and win that round, albeit on a bit of a tertiary bomb site. We don't really expect Reading Room to be won all too many times by the defenders. Still very winnable, make no mistake, but when you're able to take that much control that early on the top floor, it does make getting, you know, down and working and weeding out those defenders that are maybe left down on the site or on the ground floor a little bit easier. That being said, NaVi are able to go back upstairs to Bar and Cocktail, and we saw them have a very convincing win here in round number 1, and I would expect no difference really.
I would agree with you. I'm a little bit surprised on the side of Fierce. You commented on the choice of Blackbeard last time out, X. Not really the site to bring him to have a huge impact, and we didn't see him have a huge impact. If you're going to bring a Blackbeard on Cafe, I'd suggest the top floor site may be a more valuable one to do it, because you can put him up there on the skylight. He's not going to lose his head to Citizen on a pistol like we saw IQ in the last one, and I just think if you want to bring the Blackbeard, maybe now is the time to do it. But they have got the lineup. They're obviously confident with that. We can see Saves just looking out with the Cade there just to see if he can get anybody on the rappel up to the east side balcony. Obviously very aware that Prox moved in and up White stairs last time. I think one of the Fierce players just playing around the bottom of the balcony there, but it looks like he will rappel up, but just too close into the building. Good positioning there from the Fierce man not to allow himself to be peaked.
Saves aware of that. He's still going to just try and hold that angle in case anyone does look to get up on that rappel. But at this moment, a little bit unlikely. I think it's fair to say that he's going to see all too much success there. It's at least not going to be a free kill. There's going to be a gunfight that will ensue if he does get challenged over on the window. I'd like to see Fierce try and do something very similar to the way that they played back in round number 1, with Prox taking that early control of White, but in conjunction with that, using the rest of the team to take that control of Piano and really start to get that grip on the site and to shut things down for the team of NaVi, because if they're allowed the space to rotate, they are going to rotate. Look at where Citizen's playing right now. You don't often see people right next to the bomb chassis there, as it is quite exposed, and you know, you've got people playing on the skylight. You can get caught out on rotations relatively easily, but still able to operate there with quite a lot of surety. Pi playing behind the default shield spot there, not really looking to challenge onto that window. He's not necessarily got the gun for it, especially if we're dealing with somebody on a very tight repelled angle, but this time Fierce much better. What about that for a headshot coming through from Pi, proving me wrong there. He's more than capable of taking that engagement, as Saves finds one as well over onto Penguin. And well, piano control has been established now by Fierce, but it has come at a heavy price.
I think that price could well prove to be too high as we move in towards the final minute here. Citizen still hasn't really been dislodged from his position underneath Skylight there. We're not seeing too much attention paid to it, and he will take the head off Keenan in return fire from the last round. He'll show him that he's got just as much ability to hit those headshots, but Nathan will move in and get the trade for his team. That now leaves us in a 2 versus 4, but with the hard breach off the board, there are not many options for Fierce here. They're going to have to push in default directions towards angles that are already being covered, and surely NaVi will be able to clinch this one out. We've got a shield in the freezer, feeding information in. Pi pops up and gets the kill onto Alfie, and now it is all down to Nathan. 50 health and no dream, unfortunately for him, as Saves gets the final kill of round number 4 there. Can we just, again, we had it at the last round. I just want to take a second to appreciate the shot from Alfie this time. Absolutely beautiful.
For me, it was this one from Pi. Just
Sorry,
as I was saying,
that's the one.
He's not got the gun for that sort of engagement. It's, you know, it's medium to long range. He's got the pepperoni, and all of a sudden he comes out and just removes heads. Love to see it. Good round there coming through from NaVi. You can see when the clock's starting to tick down, and you've still got Kendrew on an Echo, you've still got Nello on a Smoke, and whoever else it is that happens to be alive at that moment in time. That round it was, you know, it was Pi. That's just not something you want to be going up against in the final 30 to 40 seconds of a round at a man disadvantage, because you're just going to get punished for it. The Toxic Babe canisters were going off in the distance. You know that there's at least one Yokai drone still alive that somebody that's dead is gathering that information for. And well, NaVi made it look very easy indeed.
It's a big, big ask at that point. But yeah, absolutely fantastic from Pi. Just popping up above that shield, like you're saying, just hitting that shot with such accuracy. It was absolutely phenomenal to watch. So heading into round number 5 now, we are 3-1 in favour of NaVi. We're going to be heading down to Kitchen again. We saw this defence in round number 2. We saw NaVi very successful. Citizen managing to get an early opener on the round, and it was the hard breach that he took off the board. So Keenan on the Hibana just needs to keep himself alive a little bit deeper into the round this time, I think, just to allow Fierce those options of moving up and getting kills via opening reinforcements rather than having to push through doorways and windows.
It's an extravagant way of dealing with a drone, Kendrew, but I respect it. Information is key in Siege. If you know there's a drone outside of the door and you can you know, risk it to try and take it out, then why not? Pi this time opting for the Echo, as Kendrew is going to be relieved. He's going to be allowed to stretch his legs maybe a little bit more on the Legion. And well, he's been hitting his shots today, so why not put him on that operator? You can see he's going to be in and around the dining room area, just checking out that aim key or that aim button, making sure that is still working as the first Lion scan will come in. Now, we've not seen Lion have that much impact for Fierce. They've done a good job of pushing off it, but they've not been getting as many kills as they would perhaps like off it, and I think that Lion scan was pretty impactless.
To be honest, NaVi have actually used the Lion very well as defenders. They've used it for sort of counter intel. You know, right, there's the Lion scan, there's going to be movement here, and they've popped up and got kills. So you've got to remember, everything in Siege works in both directions. In comes the second scan, and perfectly timed for me. Thank you, Kendrew. He will take that opportunity to get a shot onto Nathan. So again, it's just that understanding that here comes the push because there's a Lion scan, and not being scared to move, not being scared to take that engagement, because the scans are very different now, and although you get pinged, it's not an outline anymore, and it makes it much more difficult for the attackers to use that information to successfully win a gunfight, and Kendrew taking full advantage of that, leaving us in a 5 versus 4, and that's the Jackal off the board as well. So again, some big utility there now. That tracking ability is gone, no longer able to see footsteps and chase those roamers down. They're going to have to rely on drones, of which I think they've lost quite a few now.
NaVi have done a really good job on the drone game, and they know that somebody is upstairs, at least one person that is, that's going to be clearing out and making short work of the floor. Last line scan going to come out there, and again, not going to prove any results coming out for Fierce. A lot of time has been spent as well in getting to this point, as Fierce have got less than a minute now to try and execute onto this site, and while NaVi, they have got their full lineup still on the table. C4s in hand as well. Saves and Nello are both going to have C4s, and that's just going to make things even more difficult for Fierce. And Citizen's going to find one on a flank over onto Penguin. Saves getting a bit aggressive in and around the bakery, but it's in fact going to be Kendrew that grabs a second on the round for Keenan, as White Stairs pressure is now going to come through. Pre-fire shots come out, Citizen making it look easy. Alfie does find that knife onto Kendrew to try and stem the flow, but now he is in a 1 versus 4 situation. It doesn't look very good for him at all. He's just seen the yokai drone there. That's going to gather some information. Does manage to shoot it out mid-air, but he knows that to his left are going to be 2 NaVi players, but the C4 toss is going to save the day, and Saves grabbing that final kill.
Just not doing enough there to move himself once his location was known. It was always going to be very dangerous for Alfie to remain on those stairs because shots had been put towards him. So at that point, if Saves has got a C4 in hand, then why not just toss it to the bottom of red stairs and see what you get? And what he gets is Alfie and finishing out the round.
I got a C4 toss on Cafe the other day.
I believe so.
I'm not sure if you saw it or not, but it was better than that.
I think at least 28 people saw it.
It was better than that.
Round number 6 then, 4-1 in favour of NaVi here. Fierce really struggling to get themselves any sort of footing in this game. We always knew it was going to be a big ask for them coming onto Cafe, especially with NaVi starting on the defence. NaVi now looking to finish this half 5-1 before going on to the attack, I'm sure, and then only needing to pick up those 2 rounds.
You can see from the scoreboard there just the drastic difference in both of these teams. Fierce not winning the gunfights, not getting into positions to be traded off each other, and not winning the 1v1s. In contrast, NaVi, good spread of kills across all the team. And it just goes to show that despite, you know, playing the objective and using utility, you've just got to win those gunfights, and that's what it really boils down to at the end of the day. And if you're not able to win those gunfights, well, you're going to have a bit of a tough time of things.
Heading back to reading them, what do they need to do differently here, X? What do NaVi need to do to successfully defend this? Obviously, we saw them lose it out last time. I think they lost a couple of roamers early on. That was one of the big problems. And they just never really seem to have too much map control for this site.
No, and they've taken quite a different lineup this time. You can see that they're prepping quite a lot of sort of jump through the barricade scenarios, and there's options for rotating down on the balcony. Not choosing to bring the Echo this time either shows me that they're going to play a little bit more aggressive, and they're really going to play this roam game hard and get up and in the faces of the players onto Fierce, because, you know, why not? They've been winning the gunfights. NaVi are going to be feeling very confident indeed. Saves has got some nice vertical angles there to try and play with. This is getting droned out inside of mining, or at least attempted to be droned out inside of mining. He maybe peeks onto that, but it's going to be a really tough engagement if he does choose to take it. Drone work now comes through, but again, look at all the time that this is wasting. Does take a good few shots in return, and maybe should have lost his life to that, and is getting a bit fortunate. But the C4 toss comes through. It is not going to be successful. He does manage to recover it, however, which is fairly impressive, as I was almost certain that that was going to get shot out by a member of Fierce. Fierce this time opting to bring the Thinker, which could be the difference, because they have been losing those gunfights. A little bit of recoil aid is never a bad thing, but they're going to have to do something with those boosts because they are few and far between. Citizen removing Nathan off the upside down repel, make that a double kill. Prox finds one in return, but Citizen is going all out here. He's not even bothered about the Monty. He's still challenging onto the window as the shots rain through. Prox is on a tear, doing the best he can for his team, but it's going to be the Citizen show. He manages to find one more before getting taken out. It will be a trade, 1 versus 2. Penguin has got a lot of work to do. Pie's done it before. He can't do it again, unfortunately for him, as Penguin is going to get the down effective 1 versus 1 with about half of the round remaining.
Prox doing some fantastic work for his team there. I think it was a 3k before he was finally ended. Penguin getting an important down from the window, and that now leaves us in a 1 versus 1. Penguin versus Nello. Nello on the smoke, an operator he's so familiar with. He'll actually move upstairs and get the recovery for Pie. Now that could be a very important decision. That leaves us in a 2 versus 1, and it gives NaVi the opportunity here to just focus on getting a trade. I'm not sure. Yes, the default cam was still in place, and that could be a big mistake from Penguin. We saw that that was active at the time, so they'll now know his location. He does make the choice to go in and get the diffuser down. Does he stick it? Of course he does. Pros don't fake. Penguin with the diffuser down, forcing a retake situation now. What is going to happen? He gets the first onto Nello. Can he get this 1v2 clutch, including a plant? It is him versus Pi. Pi is low health and has to do something here. He's going to have a limited amount of information after that kill on Nello, but he's going to be very cautious about challenging this. He has got the Roni in hand. He's looking to move through. He's going to expose himself. No, he won't. He won't get the kill as Penguin finishes things off. What a fantastic play. He just threw me off there as he hit the prone. I thought he'd maybe been downed and just needed finishing off, but no, he lives to fight and finishes things off for Fierce.
Fierce came out today saying they were going to play the ranked style, and well, what is more ranked than just going prone when it matters? No one ever expects you to be prone. You might get pre-fired at crouch level, but no one's pre-firing at prone level there, and Pi left with little option. Not often that you see NaVi fluff a situation like that. A 2v1 with the diffuser not being planted yet. Even if the diffuser does get planted, it's not often that they push separately.
It's a tricky one, because I called Nello picking Pi up at the time and suggested it was a good decision, and I stand by that. I think it was. You've got to give yourself that man advantage. However, Penguin made some very quick choices there to recognise that I think he recognised that was probably happening. So he knew, because of the location, that he'd been granted 20 seconds or so of free time. And he very, very quickly moved into sight and got that diffuser down. And that, for me, was the pivotal point there. By getting that down, he forced them to separate and try to pinch him. And it just put him into those 1v1 gunfights rather than a 1v2.
Very well played indeed. I think it was Demo actually on the desk earlier that said for his money Nathan was the best player on the team, and proving it there and coming clutch in those dying few seconds. So very well played indeed. Now of course we are at the turn of the tide. It is time to switch things around, and it's going to be NaVi's turn to show us what they've got on the attack. And Fierce, coming off the back of a hot win, they're going to be going over onto the defense and probably feeling pretty good about themselves, especially in terms of the mental mind state, because kills have started to be sort of traded around a little bit more freely now, and it's not just Prox that's going off and getting out there and getting these kills. The other members of the team are starting to get into the stride and starting to warm up a little bit as well, which is really important. And if they can continue to build on this on the defense, we could see them take more rounds yet.
That's it. Momentum's so important, and that's now something that Fierce have to start building, heading into round number 7. 30 seconds are gone, and we don't have too much immediate progress towards the map for NaVi. And how about that from Keenan? He nearly gets himself a second on the jump out. He will take Pi off the board, and Pi at this point must be starting to feel like, what can he do today? Nothing is working out for him. As we said, he was a little bit quiet on coastline, and then he loses the last situation with the diffuser down, and then gets jumped out on. Penguin with a great kill onto Citizen, now leaving us 5 versus 3 in favour of Fierce, and they're really coming out with a statement on defence here. Penguin trading out the kill onto Alpha, and he will get himself a third on the round with one onto Kendra, who saves, will get procs, but is now in a 1 versus 3. It's going to be a 4k clutch if he can get the remaining 3, and that could be a big error there with the first drone just bouncing off the window. But as drone economy is so important in this game, Saves, of course, has picked his second drone up and kept it alive, and will have that immediately to hand to use. And he's going to bring his second one in as well, using every tool available to him at this point to gather information and get as much detail as he can about exactly what and where he needs to do this.
I'm not sure that Fierce have got any information as to Saves' whereabouts here, because it looks as though they're playing pretty passively, still checking things. They have got the diffuser down, which is a big advantage for them at this moment in time. Saves is going to find himself at Lumber. He's going to challenge onto one, does manage to get it down, but Keenan swings and takes Saves out of the game. Fierce, another round, chaining the rounds together now. That's 2 on the bounce for them. And well, is this the start of the comeback?
It certainly could be. We are now at 4-3 heading into round number 8, and Fierce not playing with any fear. As they said, they're here to play for fun. They're here to see what they can achieve against the current Pro League champions NaVi, and they are certainly holding their own at this point.
Well, they're holding their own and more, the way that they're able to chain these kills together and some of the individual plays that we're seeing come out of Fierce. It's very commendable at this moment in time, to be 3-4. It's not a bad scoreline at all.
I think that jump out very well timed.
It was huge.
Very well timed, because we had it in Coastline, and I commented beforehand that they said before the game, this is the sort of style we're going to be playing, and you can't play that style like that. They've left it long enough that NaVi have forgotten about it. NaVi have forgotten that there's that in the locker, that they're willing to do those crazy jump outs, and that was absolutely perfectly timed from Keenan. He nearly got 2 on it. It was so close.
There was a second in it. There was 1 second in it. I think had he jumped out a second earlier, he would have been gifted with 2 there, because I don't know who it was, but whoever was at the top of the rappel in that animation, it's so difficult to do anything when you're getting on or off the rappel. You're not able to challenge onto that at such a sharp angle.
I tell you what, the changes that we've seen in the test server where you have to hit your function button to actually move off rappel, I think he probably gets that kill there. That is how close the difference was. If they had to press a key to exit the rappel there, I think he gets 2.
Moving now into round number 8, we're going to be looking toward a bakery hold. As well, Fierce are left with little option after winning their first defensive round on the top floor. Now, not as much pressure going on upstairs as perhaps we saw from NaVi. NaVi did tend to stretch the legs a little bit on this site, but Fierce doing the right thing, arguably, and only really sending Keenan out there to guard reading room and dining room, and of course those also crucial white stairs. We didn't see Fierce attack onto this site with any real success or any real conviction. They were really just funneling themselves. Now, I'm sure that we're going to see a bit of a polar opposite here from NaVi, as they're going to look to clear this roam game out and give themselves a bit more of an opening. You can see Prox there is at the bottom of white stairs. And I don't believe that Freezer is entirely reinforced, but Maverick there is going to be opening up the main bakery wall. I'm going to be looking to do the old remove the barricade.
It will just take a little bit of time, and he needs to be careful not to lose his life. Needs to think about the angles that he's giving away here, and shots will go in onto the Maverick. Kendrew taking a lot of damage there, and he needs to think carefully before he goes back to that barricade to try and clear it off. They need to do something to disrupt the player inside, to move them away so that they cannot watch that angle. As it stands, Kendrew initially is going to just move away and open up a separate angle into the bakery kitchen there. It's just going to give a line of sight to try and move those players around before he goes back to the reinforced wall on the kitchen area. Alfie just holding himself in tight there. We can see him up and down off the counters, changing his angle. Citizen getting the first kill for NaVi to get things going here, and that's Prox. That could be a big one because Prox is on a real tear so far this map. He's been having a fantastic time of it, getting lots of important kills for his team. Keenan still upstairs, nobody really disrupted up there yet. He's able to hold those vertical angles as NaVi potentially pushed aside. And how about that? We must always remember that those angles work both ways. Alfie using the Maverick hole there perfectly to get a kill onto saves, and that will be the IQ off the board. So that could be an important one, just giving Keenan a little bit more freedom on the vigil there.
I think that's a really important kill to come out there. It was a great shot as well, which is always something that is in addition to a good kill. It's always nice when it's done in a flashy way. And it's going to allow Alfie to still play in and around that prep room area. He hasn't got any Toxic Babe canisters left just yet, but he's got a lot of angles to cover. And I think that he would be liking for his team to maybe rotate back down onto site as we are in the last 30 seconds. Penguin's going to find one before Alfie is going to fall as 2 kills come through back-to-back for NaVi, quickly entering a 3 versus 1. And well, Nathan has just been caught out in the cold a bit. Plant is going to start going down. He's going to look to try and challenge on, but with 15 seconds left, he's in a bit of a tough spot. The plant is almost certainly going to be stuck, as Nathan left with little option but to try and push on. Not a lot of options. Nello closing things out as the plant was almost all the way down there. That round really could have gone a different direction, and I think had Fierce won a couple of those 1v1 engagements that got NaVi to the point where they were able to take control of site, we could have seen a bit of a different round come through.
Got a feel for Nathan at the end there. Not only was he fighting against his defensive side utility, the shields being used to full effect there from the attackers inside, but also he had a Jackal track on him as well, and that was never going to make things easier. Everything was stacked against him, and that will put NaVi up 5-3 now as we head into round number 9. We're going to be seeing Reading Room, Fireplace Hall as the defensive pick here for Fierce. I think really it's about they need to just keep that unpredictability there. That's when they've had good rounds, when they've been able to do something that NaVi couldn't really expect. And I'm not saying that they can just go to jumping out and peeking every time, but they just need to figure out a way to keep NaVi on the toes here and not allow them to get that foothold.
Yeah, because as soon as NaVi are able to establish that and they start to get the sense or at least get the sniff of a bit of a lead or the map win and closing it out, they're going to convert on that very quickly. This is a crucial round, make no mistake. If Fierce lose this round, 6-3 starts to look really difficult. However, 5-4, you're still in the fight and you've still got another round to play with. You get that back to 5-5 and all of a sudden it's anyone's. But NaVi and their experience is really going to start to show through now. We've seen this matchup so far today be fairly neck and neck throughout, even back in Coastline. Now NaVi are just edging it ever so slightly and they're just sort of getting that bit of a lead in there. They've got a 2-round advantage now, 1 round away from match point, and I think that if they convert and make this the match point, it's going to be really difficult for Fierce mentally to try and come back from that.
I think just hearing the difference in that potential scoreline really highlights the value of every single round in Siege. 6-3 or 5-4, it really is a drastic difference between the two. We can see early progress towards the rooftop here. It's going to be a top floor clear coming in from NaVi more than likely. We can see a 4th man joining them up on the roof here while Pi is out on that bakery roof just using his drone and trying to get any information about site that they can. We've got Penguin playing out on the white stairs, Alfie in sight, but other than that it looks like a lot of the Fierce players are off around the map and in the top floor, particularly Nathan and Prox up there just looking to make things as difficult as possible. Keenan as well in the piano room. He's going to see some early pressure here as things start to progress from NaVi now. Pressure being applied from the window. There's a drone in there which moving around like that must feel like playing with a wasp in the room as he tries to take some headshots onto the upside down rappel but will not be able as Citizen moves in with a very quick double kill. Nathan and Keenan off the board, which leaves us with only one more player up here on the top floor. We can see Penguin moving in the distance there up the white stairs just to try and support his top floor players, but he needs to be very careful not to give up his life here, as if he does then it will be a 1-man defensive site. Half of the round gone here, 5 versus 3 and NaVi in a commanding position.
That entry kill there for Citizen is going to be huge in how this round plays out. I think had Fierce, got a couple of kills in that early stage and been able to hold on for a little bit longer, they would be in a much better position. But 5-2 isn't looking so great right at this moment in time, as Alfie is getting himself in a bit of a skirmish on red stairs, but he isn't able to aggress up and rotate onto that as there are gridlock tracks. He's gifted with a chance at a kill there, but he's going to get caught in a reload animation as a flood comes through from NaVi. Penguin grabs 1, but it isn't going to be enough. NaVi taking round number 9. The Citizen completed that with a 3K.
I don't want to be overly critical there because we understand how difficult it is in the heat of the moment in those situations. If things fall differently for Alfie there, he comes away with a double kill and all of a sudden his team are in a different situation. It just looked to me as if he got caught in a little bit of indecision. He came round the corner and half expected somebody coming over balcony because he was ADSing up in that direction. I don't think he needed the reload. He just backed away from the fight, moved behind the pillar, and I think it was maybe a natural reaction to hit for the reload, and it just left him in a very tricky situation, whereas I think with maybe a little bit more decisiveness, he comes round there and carries on hitting his shots. There's definitely 2 to be had.
That is going to put NaVi onto a match point. We're going to be looking toward Bar and Cocktail Lounge now. Fierce were successful in defending this back in round number 7, so there is a good chance for them to be able to stave off NaVi converting this match point, and of course that would be series points as well. A lot of work still to do. Something that I liked from NaVi in that round, despite the flood of kills coming through, just how well they worked together as a team, and even in a 5 versus 2 man count situation, they were still throwing drones out there. They weren't just face checking everything. They really want to lock this in now. And NaVi have got the sniff that this is going to be the final. They know that they win this round, they get through to the final, and then they've got a whole other obstacle to get over. But still playing proper Siege, still taking things seriously, and not getting caught into just face checking things and getting in unpredictable gunfights. They're really stacking the odds in their favour.
And this is it. This is something that, we keep talking about. How can other teams develop? How can the UK scene develop? What information, what tips can they pick up? And that is definitely one, as you say there, X. Winning matches in Siege is not about the rounds that get you on to 6. Winning matches in Siege is about that 7th round on the books for you. And how many times do we see teams falter at that last hurdle and just struggle to clutch it out and finish the match off? And like you say, that's something that NaVi do really well. If anything, when they get the sniff of that win, they accelerate. The foot goes down on the gas pedal, and they really do start to turn things on. And like you say, things remain completely professional. They're on the drones. They're certainly not taking things for granted. We're going to see another attempted run out, but you're not going to get away with it this time, Penguin, as Pi will wheel round and get the headshot saves with one of his own. Things falling apart quickly here as Keenan goes for one, does get the kill onto Pi, but Kendrew will trade that one straight back out. We are now in a 4 versus 2, 4 versus 1, as Kendrew will get the kill onto Prox. Nello in sight, getting the diffuser down. As you say, that professionalism still coming through X, no matter what the situation, still focusing on the objective. Nathan tries to move to half stairs, will be unsuccessful, and that will be the round. 2-0 in favour of NaVi.
NaVi there are going to be, of course, joining M&M in the final. And, well, very well deserved. I think we've seen a bit of a masterclass there on Cafe. It's a map that we often associate with NaVi. They were one of the teams, we said it earlier, that got a really good idea of how to play that map, and that's shown there through today. Fierce had a good showing, it just wasn't quite enough on the day.
We can see, you know, great reactions from the players on stage there. We can see that this still means an awful lot to NaVi to get through to the final. Handshakes all round. These players are all friends outside of the matches, and they enjoy playing against each other. We can see all smiles there. Great sportsmanship from both teams, and that's what we like to see. For me now, looking towards the final, I like M&M for this. I think they're going to come in and surprise. I'm not saying they necessarily pick up the win, but I think they're going to see a good performance. We're going to head back over to the desk now to have a better look over the content of that match.
Thank you very much for that, guys. And there we have it. NaVi with the expected 2-0, I think pretty fair to say, but quite a bit of resistance being shown by Fierce.
I'll give credit to them. They got some rounds, and some pretty nice looking rounds at that, but still expected. What can we say, Flick? What can we say?
I think it was a good showing from Fierce because